Hey y'all, it's Jasmine, host of the 4 Degrees to the Streets podcast. What's going on? Thank you all for continuing to listen to the 4 Degrees to the Streets podcast. We just celebrated our 50th podcast episode. And honestly, I can't even believe it that y'all have let me talk about urban planning for 45 to 60 minutes, 50 different times is a blessing. Thank you so much. I was just featured as a guest on an amazing podcast called the Black Women Healing Podcast, and that's the episode that you're about to hear right now. We recorded on August 15th, 2025. The Black Women Healing Podcast is an amazing show hosted by two Black women, Myra and Donika Brown. Both are licensed marriage and family therapists. Their show's bio reads as the following. Black Women Healing Podcast is a safe space hosted by two licensed marriage and family therapists navigating the mental health field and mental health world. Using their real life experiences and expertise as professionals, this podcast will take you on a journey that starts or continues our viewers' healing. We bring realness to the work that we do. I know you all will enjoy the conversation as we talk about all things urban planning, starting with gentrification and ending with parks and green space. It's available for you to watch on YouTube or continue streaming on this platform. You can click on the link in our show notes to find the episode on YouTube. However you listen, we appreciate you just the same. Please continue to listen to the 4 Degrees to the Streets podcast. Share this episode with a family member or friend who loves their neighborhood. And you can find out more about the Black Women Healing Podcast on social media at BWH_pod and on Substack, Black Women Healing Podcast. Thank you all for listening. Peace out, y'all.
Black woman, it's time to heal and feel, be real. You just gotta take your time, unwind and chill. Cause now it's time to love yourself. Build emotional and mental health. Cause black woman, it's time to heal and feel, be real.
Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Black Women Healing Podcast. It is your co-host Donika.
I'm Myra.
And today we have a special guest. But before we get into it, follow, subscribe, like
and comment.
And comment.
On all the platforms.
All the platforms. We appreciate y'all. Let's keep it going. I'm going to go ahead and let Myra introduce our special guest.
Yeah, so here we have Jasmine. Jasmine's educational, professional, and entrepreneurial background illustrates her strong capability to discuss the impact of the built environment on public health. Jasmine holds a Master of City and Regional Planning with a specialization in environmental planning and community development from the Georgia Institute of Technology. While at Georgia Tech, Jasmine served as a graduate research assistant in the Healthy Places Research Lab, contributing to projects that explore the intersections of public schools, neighborhood walkability, physical and mental health, housing, and related themes. Jasmine brings over 5 years of experience in commercial real estate finance. At the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency, Jasmine underwrote and closed more than $300 million in loans, supporting the development of over 2,500 affordable housing units across the state. After relocating to Los Angeles, Jasmine joined PGIM Real Estate, where she has focused on analyzing and underwriting government-sponsored enterprise loans for both market rate and affordable housing properties nationwide. She's now gone on to a new role, which she will tell us about shortly. In addition, she hosts the 4 Degrees to the Streets podcast, a monthly show that demystifies urban planning for city dwellers. Unlike traditional planning media aimed at professionals, the podcast empowers everyday listeners by translating complex topics into actionable insights. Under Jasmine's stewardship, the show has earned recognitions highlighted in Planning Magazine, featuring panels with Smart Growth America's Equity Summit, and participating in an APA Women in Planning Division Forum. Topics span planning for children and seniors, health impacts, CBD recovery post-COVID, budgeting processes, women-centric design, and more. Damn, you do a lot, girl. I'm like, I need some water.
It's a lot to listen to also.
It is. And tell us a little bit about your new role.
So I recently transitioned from working in commercial real estate finance to real estate development.
Got it.
Finally, I've been lending on affordable housing for the last 5 years, and I decided I wanted to get my hands dirty and be on the development side. So now I'm Associate Director of Development at a nonprofit affordable housing developer, Bridge Housing Corporation. And so I run our development and acquisition of affordable housing in Southern California. It's only been like 60 days, so I'm excited.
Yes, congrats.
Thank you.
So before we jump into all the nitty gritty, let's have some fun here. And I'm going to toss it back over to Donika. Give us something to talk about.
I mean, first, I just want to say, this is Black success.
It is.
I was like, hold on, there's more. Like, Black success. Like, I'm super happy that we have you.
Yes.
I'm glad to be here.
Yes, yeah, no, this is going to be beautiful and such an important topic. But before we get into the topic and thinking of a random discussion and thinking of urban planning and just like in general, what is you all's favorite city in the United States to visit?
To visit.
Yes.
To visit.
Yeah, not to
live.
To live.
To visit? Okay, so I just recently went to Oregon, as you know. And I never thought I would love it so much. I went to Eugene, Oregon, and also Portland. Really love both of those places. But if I would pick, I would say I like Portland. I love that everybody's on bikes. I love that people are also driving cars, but it's also very walkable at the same time. I love the lay of the land. It's very simple. It's very easy. There's traffic, but not for real. The trees. Like, it just feels like nature meets city meets like relaxation, but busyness at the same time.
Okay.
Because I love city. Like, I'm an LA girl forever. So I think that's my favorite.
Portland, Oregon.
Who would have thought?
What is it for you?
I like New Orleans.
Ooh.
Like, it's messed up because it's the food. Like, every single thing that I've eaten in New
Tastes
Orleans
good.
is amazing.
Yeah.
It's a lot of culture there. I mean, one of the times I went there, I seen like a bus get off and they dancing and stuff. I'm like, yes! Like, that to me is just like that culture experience. It is dark though, I will say. You can feel the heaviness of like, it's so much that has happened there.
For sure.
But I would still say, like, if you're looking for like culture, like real Blackness, good food.
So you didn't tell me we were looking at culture. I'm thinking about the lay of the land.
But all
I would've
those
picked
things
New
come
Orleans.
together. And so now what's your culture pick city?
It would have to be New Orleans because I go there just to eat and visit my family. My family has developed so much there. Like, they've taken like a gas station and made it into like a club. Like, just the random things that they've done. But I didn't pick it because of the streets. My family makes me drive when we go there, and the streets are tore up. It's hard to drive. You get lost real easily. If you know where you are, you can walk it. Like, my family frequents certain spaces, so I know how to walk them. But other spaces, I'm like, I'm not walking there. I don't know, like, where I'm going. So the lay of the land I don't enjoy, but the culture for sure. Hey, baby. Like, what? Yes.
I see. Yeah, no, now I'm thinking, it's going to sound mess. I don't like the lay of the land nowhere in the United States. I'm like, I go to countries immediately. I love how other countries, especially like the islands, how they don't have lights. And it's all of these little roundabout things. I love that. I can't explain
Really?
it. Yes, I feel like it works. I feel like they actually have less accidents, interestingly enough. I think it teaches you patience and like being able to like, you got to navigate, let this person go, not let this person go. Like, so we thinking of lay of land. I don't know the easiest place I've been to this drivable. I don't know, y'all. I'm going to give it to Jasmine and we can come back.
But it's interesting that when you talk about lay of the land, both of y'all talked about like the driving.
Yeah.
Because for me, and that's the challenge of being from the East Coast and not living in LA, when I think about a city, my number one thing is public transportation.
Definitely.
So my number one in the U.S. will always and forever be New York City.
Yes.
Because, and that one is also my culture pick and my lay of the land pick.
Ooh.
Because it's easy to get around. I mean, if you're in a car, it is difficult to get around, but that's by design, on intention. They want you to ride the train. It was designed before cars were like the main form of transportation, different from a city like LA, which like had its big population boom after the vehicle was like the main affordable way to get around. So New York and LA have like totally different layouts because the thought about how people would move was totally different. So that's why I love New York.
Absolutely.
So you don't like Japan's trip? Oh, you weren't really on the train like that.
She just brought up, we didn't bring up the train. So now that we bringing that in, yeah, Japan has the most, that
It's
the
so
other
easy.
countries, yeah, they have the most accessible, like, it's there, you know, like it's quick, it's there, it's clean. Like Japan, and they say that it's like New York a little bit but cleaner. And bigger. I haven't been to. I've been to New York, but I haven't rode the transit.
Really?
Ah.
And so I was in there when I went. We was driving everywhere, which is wild
Poor
to
baby.
say. I know. We did not get on the train, any buses.
Yeah.
So, but that's all you definitely hear that about New York.
For sure.
Like,
Love New York.
and thinking of how big LA is and the fact that we don't have a sustainable, like, put together transit system, it's quite wild.
You know, I gotta just highlight, today is Nipsey Hussle's birthday, and they did a limited edition Metro card. Please consider that people actually take the bus, and y'all are over there making these long lines for people that actually need to use the transportation. It was literally pissing me off. It's cute that y'all want to get the car. I love that. But, like, I think we don't consider people. And, like, I just think about transportation as a whole, how we don't consider people. Like, Uber and Lyft, y'all need to consider people that are blind that are trying to transport their kids.
Yeah.
Why don't we have a system like New York where we'll come pick you up with a car seat in the car? Same thing with the train. Like, why are we not considering, like, the people who are actually trying to go somewhere versus y'all, like, trying to sell a product? Anyway, I just have to plug that. That was pissing me off this morning, these long lines, and I see people trying to get past because they're trying to get to work, but y'all waiting on a Metro card you're not going to use.
Yeah, you just want the memorable.
Yeah.
If you get it, at least give it to someone who uses the bus.
Please do, like, the
And fill it up
consideration.
first.
Yeah, fill it up.
And then hand it to somebody.
Yeah, at the very least.
But it's interesting, and I'll just say this about LA. Even though LA doesn't have a super robust, like, transportation network, to your point, bus ridership is really, really high here. Like, any of the bus routes that you see going down Vermont or Wilshire or Six, they're always full. So the demand for ridership is there. I think LA has this perception that everybody drives, everybody's in their car, but that's not true everywhere.
Yeah. Growing up in LA, that's where we have fun on the bus. Like, that's where, like, but we also talking about how, like, once you can drive a car, you don't want to ride the bus because just, like, the sketchy things that happen on LA buses, like, it's not giving movie. It's giving, like, Get Out. Like, it's a little scary. But riding the bus is, like, a core, like, high school memory.
So is that how you got to school? You rode the public bus to school?
It is not. We carpooled to school because the school was very close. But I remember I had a job where it only took one bus to get there, and my parents pissed me off. They didn't want to take me to work. And so I was like, I'll take the bus. And they were like, you've never taken a bus. You don't know how to get there. Because usually when I ride the bus, it'd be like with friends if we're going to, like, the Grove. The Grove was like the place everybody went growing up. But I figured it out, walk my little self down the street, and it was one bus I had to take to get there. And the whole ride would be sketchy. Like, I'd be on edge, like, what's going on? But it was such a cool experience because you start to see the same people. Then people start to look after you. Like, it's a whole experience.
Your awareness is your them antennas, those survival skills, they go up.
Yeah.
And in Kentucky, we don't have trains. So all we have is buses. So buses are huge where I'm from. And I was riding, and also in thinking of schools, a lot of folks out here, y'all go to schools many times near y'all. Like, meaning sometimes y'all be walking to school. Where I'm from, it's rare. I think now they have it where they try to make you go to a school that's in your neighborhood, but you could have to take, like, 2 buses to get to your school. They call them, like, compound buses. But
That's interesting you say that because I've never heard. Most of the people I grew up with, they were bused into schools. Like, I was a rare.
I feel like I never see you talking about a school bus.
No, not a school bus, a public transportation bus.
Okay,
Like, where, like, my dad lives, for example, the Crenshaw district. Usually you go to Crenshaw High School. No, him and all his friends got bused at Palisades.
Is it different there now? Because, I mean, we work with schools. I feel like a lot of times they walk into
Most of the kids that
school.
go to Palisades are still from the Crenshaw district.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that it's different being that you're not from here because most of my friends were bused into my schools because their parents thought that was a better school.
Yeah.
So what about, like, Washington Prep High School, John Adams Middle Schools? Like, these schools, like, a lot of these
Those
kids,
schools are a little bit different. Those kids live in the neighborhood.
That's what I'm saying.
But I'm saying the majority of schools, kids are getting bussed out because their parents feel like, why would my kid go to the school in this neighborhood? And that's why in Inglewood, for example, we're seeing a closure of so many schools because the parents feel like, I'm not sending my kid to that school. But my mom was like, you know, because I went to private school up until 4th grade. My mom was like, I literally cannot afford this anymore. We're going to have to figure something out. Like, does your school have, like, a gifted program or something like that? And that's why I ended up going to my local school. But most of my friends, their parents thought that was a better school, so they were getting bussed in, like from the other side of Inglewood or from like another city.
You look surprised by that.
Because that's not my experience. I feel like the mixture of it.
But you're going to see it now that you work at Palisades.
Right, that's one of the. So I supervise different therapists at schools, but I don't know, because now you're saying buses, and this is another, like you're talking about like a citywide bus, not a school bus, because I don't see school buses out here.
School buses are very rare in LA.
School buses,
yes, and I think that's why it's kind of. I'm like,
you mainly see a school bus for like a SPED student.
Which is wild, because...
But that is how it is in most cities, like in New York also. Like, I'm from the suburbs in New Jersey, so I rode a yellow school bus to my school in my district. But to your point, and I think that's because the LA school district is a unified school district, like across the county.
Yep.
So you can live in Inglewood and go to school in Palisades or in Malibu or something like that, as long as you stay in your same county. And that in itself... And I'm glad we're having this on this podcast, because I feel like schools and planning is an area that doesn't get talked about enough. But that to me is urban planning issue. When you're living in a neighborhood and you have a school that's walking distance or a couple blocks away, and instead you get up earlier in the morning and you wait at the bus and you go, like, we're talking about Inglewood to Palisades. It's far. It's not close at all. And sometimes people are like in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Young kids having to do that.
You start at Palms and then Palisades, and Palms is near that school. Yep.
Oh my goodness. Having to get up earlier, all those things. Like, that's
just so that you can go to a school that's in a quote unquote better district because it has more funding. But it's like, why is the school in my neighborhood not funded well enough that I can just go right across the street?
Yeah. But I also think it's lack of education too. Because oftentimes people will look at the schools in their neighborhood, and because generationally they've been told that it's not a good school.
Yeah.
So I've had friends that have gone to Crenshaw, and I've learned all these things about Crenshaw High School, and I've been like, wait, it's safe to go there? Wait, y'all learning there? Right? Because I have this skewed mentality of how a school is supposed to be. Same thing with Inglewood High School. I'm not going to that school. Y'all learn there? Like, I didn't know people were actually learning at these schools, but that's because generationally I was told what was going on in this school, and so are my friends, and so we were very selective about where we went to school. But speaking about the bus, again, just like not knowing, no awareness. My mom is from Compton. She didn't know a whole lot about Inglewood. She thought it was like the safest city ever. Keep in mind, people getting killed in front of my apartment building, whatever.
Yeah, definitely during your time.
I learned that we had a school buses in the 11th grade, and the school bus went from school to school in Inglewood, and whatever school was closest to you would get off there and walk home. And why did I learn that in 11th grade? My mom was like, you're lying. There's no school bus. I have never seen the school bus. She didn't know. One of my friends put me on and was like, because my mom would work late sometimes, and she would just not be able to pick me up. And where my school was compared to my home, it was so hilly. Like, it was painful to walk home. And so one of my friends was like, you can just take the bus and walk from there. And I was like, you're lying. There's no bus. And they were like, it comes at 3:21, like some weird time. No, it don't. It was a bus full of all my friends. I'm like, y'all are riding a bus and nobody told me.
That's funny.
11th grade, I found out. And they're like, this bus has been running. What?
That's so wild. Yeah. I mean, we done went in it, but I think this is beautiful, and already starting to talk about even like geographically where we are and how different our experiences are. Yeah. I mean, we Black success, y'all. We made it, but we struggled again.
So,
well, actually, yours sounds like the smoothest. Like you, like you getting around sound the smoothest, but we made it, y'all.
Well, let's usher in and learn about what does urban planning actually mean.
Mm-hmm. That's one of my favorite questions, right? So I tell people I'm a planner, and they're like, oh, event planning? And I'm like, no, baby, I don't know where none of that stuff goes. But urban planning, city design, it's the practice or the industry of how public space, private space are all laid out in a geographic area. So cities have a planning department, right? That's the department that you go to submit a permit if you want to build a house or do an addition. They're also a department that if someone wants to come do a hotel or build an apartment building or build SoFi Stadium, they have to go get all of these approvals because there's a plan, a neighborhood plan, a citywide plan that says, on this street, we want it to be mostly commercial buildings. And on that street, we want it to be mostly residential areas. And so when you want to do something on any particular land, how does your proposal coincide with or conflict with the already existing landscape in that area. And so I think city planning is cool because it's the organization of streets, of roads, of highways, of parks, of apartments, of single family homes, of trains, of schools, of waste treatment facilities, of ports. It's the organization of all these physical and natural things. Like, do we want to preserve this land to be a forest area? Do we want to preserve it to be an oil area? Like, how do we want to preserve certain natural resources? All of that is under the scope of city planning.
Okay, that was a good breakdown. Okay.
Thank you so much for that. I feel like you do not hear folks talking about this a lot at all, which is wild because it's literally our life and how we live every day. When you see a new building, you just brought up SoFi Stadium and all these. I live in Inglewood, so it's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
So it means that these proposals have had to be put into place, and people's probably have been denied based off of if it's not meant for this new structure they're trying to do. So important. Thank you so much for breaking it down in a very relatable way too.
Yep.
So, and get to know you a little bit more. Can you share with us how you go about picking where you live?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good question. So I'm from New Jersey. I grew up in Jersey. I moved for grad school to Atlanta. So that was different, right? Growing up in the East Coast, it's New Jersey is the most densely populated state, meaning that there are the most people per square mile in New Jersey than any other
I didn't
state.
know that.
We're a really small state, but we have a lot of people. So not that we all live super close to each other, but there's the most people per square mile. So then I'm moving to Atlanta, which is Tree City. It's still a big city, but it's sprawling. I mean, Atlanta's metropolitan area is so big compared to other cities. Then I moved to DC for a little bit, which I love. I love DC a lot. And then LA. And so I chose to move to LA. I wanted to step out from working in the public sector to the private sector, and so found a role here in LA. I had friends who were here working in Hollywood. But in choosing where I wanted to live in LA, honestly, I tried to pick a place that was walkable. To me, that's like my top priority. When I'm picking a place where I want to live, or if I'm going on vacation, I have to stay somewhere for a few days. I want to be able to go outside and with my 2 feet, walk to get something to eat, pick up a little grocery real quick, maybe get some toilet paper or something. So like my neighborhood, that was important for me. The other piece was I don't like living near the highway. Like I think for some people that's like convenient because I can just get on the road and go to work. And maybe it's the downside of being trained in planning. Highways are so loud and they produce so much like toxic air because of all the cars and trucks going down them. And so for me, a good distance from the highway where I don't even notice it is how I want to live, because I don't want to have to breathe in those fumes and things like that. And I've had that experience when I lived in Atlanta, and it was not pleasant for me. Like it was convenient to just get on the road, but if you open your window, all you hear is cars going by. I can't live like that. And then the last thing for me is I like to live around Black people, and that right now where I live, I did not get that very very high on my list. I didn't get that very high on my list. But I'd say that's the next priority for me, right? Is as I think about having a family and all of that stuff, I want my kids to grow up in a neighborhood similar to the one I grew up in, which was predominantly Black, all like middle class, homeowners, different things like that. And that to me is important. I don't want to be surrounded by a bunch of people who don't look like me. It doesn't feel safe, honestly.
For sure. Donika, what about you?
I mean, I live in Inglewood and I live by the highway. So as you were talking about this, I was like, because it's true. Like as soon as I walk, I live literally about like highway. Everything is busy, and you right as far as like the pollution of it's car. It's just a lot going on over there. But in choosing like the Black piece, so I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, and Louisville, Kentucky, it does have other races, and it's not just Black people. But where I grew up at, it's just we were all kind of together. And then I lived in San Diego, and San Diego to me was so different because it is Black people there too, but I didn't feel connected to the Black people, and the Black people. It's not a lot of Black people as well, but I just didn't feel connected there. So then when I moved to Inglewood. And I've been here the whole time. Like, I literally moved from another place. Like, Inglewood is my place. And a lot of stuff is walkable. Yeah. Like, if I want a smoothie, a Black-owned smoothie, a place where they're selling that, or, yoga studios. There's so much, it's so much Blackness. If I can, like you said, walking down the street and seeing somebody who looks like me, or going to the store. When I was in San Diego, I would go to, like, a Sprouts or Whole Foods and wouldn't see anybody the whole time who looks like me. And it'd be like, they looking at me crazy. I'm looking at them crazy.
Yeah.
It's just, so for me, in thinking of California, I'm going to say Inglewood. Like, that's where it just makes the most sense. Yeah.
That.
What about you?
I think mine has always been like based off of where I am in life. Like San Diego was cool for me because I love the beach. It feels like just like my place. So it's 15 minutes to get to the beach. It's not a whole ordeal. Growing up in LA, the beach felt like a whole trip. Like,
and the beach in LA and the beach in San Diego are not the same beach.
Not the same. Yeah. So that's why I enjoyed San Diego. But once I had my daughter, I was like, I don't even feel that safe. Like now that I'm thinking about it, why I feel like I gotta watch my back everywhere I go. And so that's why I had to come back to LA. I live very close to Leimert Park. I'm there like all the time, but that's because it's walkable. I feel safe. Like I like when people talk. Like in San Diego, when I see Black people, they be looking at me like, why are you talking to me? And I'll be looking like, what did I do? Like, what did I miss? Whereas here, like growing up in Inglewood, I just felt so safe because people talked to me. Like even though gun violence was going on, the man on the corner I saw every day would make sure I got home, he'd be looking down the street. The random lady I would see, be like, oh, I love your lip gloss, your hair, blah, blah, blah. That's why I had to come back home. Like, I need my daughter to be raised in that, like, you're a queen and people gonna treat you like it. Mm-hmm. But I feel like I've only experienced that in Leimert Park, View Park, Inglewood areas, not in San Diego. So for me, it's the safety piece.
Yeah.
That's super important.
I envy that, both of you guys, because, and honestly, I think it's probably a benefit for neighborhoods like View Park and Baldwin Hills and Leimert Park to not have a lot of big institutional apartment owners, because I think it keeps the price down and it slows, right? We know gentrification is happening, but I think it slows down gentrification when the buildings are owned by small property management firms or individual people. But it does make it difficult for someone who doesn't live in the area already to find a place to live. So when I was moving from New Jersey to here, Googling LA apartments in New Jersey, you're not finding nothing in any of those neighborhoods. You need to be boots on the ground, walking around looking for a sign that says, call this number. And so that's how I ended up in my building now, which is a big institutional apartment owner. They own like probably 1 million units across the country, right? And I live in one of their units in LA. But I would love to move, and I've been looking for a place in Leimert, in View Park, in Baldwin Hills, in one of those neighborhoods, because that's what I'm missing on the west side. So I live on the west side. And it's like very stressful all the time, because that's not my experience. I have the walkability, but I don't have the culture. And if I was able to move and find something that worked for me, I would do it in a heartbeat.
There are a lot of Black well, not a lot. A lot to me is 2. There are a lot of Black families that are now building new apartment complexes because they own the property and they're like, my grandma left me this. I don't know what to do with it.
Don't sell your grandma house.
And it's beautiful now because grandma owned businesses. So now I see signs and I'm walking around my neighborhood that'll say, this is a Black-owned apartment coming to this neighborhood. That is so refreshing because, again, I'm from Inglewood. And there's been so many issues with the push out of my people. Whereas now living in that side of town, these people don't play. Like Destination Crenshaw is a big thing. You see all this stuff about Black owned businesses and they can't push us out. It's not going anywhere. So I love it. Even though I'm sad about Inglewood. I love that part of it.
Yeah, you're not that far. Jumping a skip.
I'm just saying the gentrification. Like, it's not really being stopped.
No. At all. Like she just said it. Like Jasmine just said, like it's been slowed down. But fair enough. No, it's not being stopped.
Yeah, I mean, those apartments right in the Hollywood Park development in SoFi are...
You know, they're struggling to rent those out.
I'm sure
nobody can afford a $4,000 one-bedroom apartment.
I don't care if
that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is. But then the people who are paying it, I'm like, what do y'all do?
All 5 of y'all.
What do... either y'all lapping up in the apartments or somebody is just balling out of control because a $3,500 studio is... bananas, literally bananas. And I just want to talk about gentrification really quick. I know that's not the purpose of this broader conversation, but it's a planning issue. And so I want to get your take, both of you, as living in Inglewood and in LA for so long. How has it been, particularly you, Myra, growing up in South Central LA or in that general area and seeing how it's changed now in 2025?
Honestly, painful and sad. As I mentioned, like the school closures and shutting down because so many people are busing out and all these things. I remember when I first saw a white person running through the neighborhood, I was like, am I supposed to start running too? So I started running too. And I was like, wait, why am I running? What are they running from? And my mom was like, Myra, that's a sign that gentrification is happening. I was like, gentrification? Who is that?
My mama knowing something.
But my mom, again, is from Compton. And so in my head, she don't know nothing about Inglewood because she doesn't have like real roots there. And so I remember her saying that. And keep in mind at this time, I'm turning 18. I'm moving away to college. But I'm still coming home. And I'm steadily seeing people I grew up with being like, oh, we're having to move to Lancaster and Palmdale. And I'm like, we don't live in those places. Why are you moving there? Meaning we, like LA people.
Yeah.
Because it's very different lay of the land. And so just seeing my friends and family like move there. My family now has like a block where they all live because they got pushed out of LA. Inglewood. It's difficult. It's hard. Especially when it's like, what is here for us? And I have my frustrations with the mayor. I won't go into that. I feel like we're all kind of collectively upset. But my question is steadily, what do I do? What am I going to do? And one thing I noticed with Inglewood, I remember when they tore down our YMCA, they took away all these programs for the youth. And that's why I started Film Scholar, to go in and help these girls. I kind of had to make a vow to myself to steadily be involved in the community because I'm steadily seeing changes happen and nothing in regards to the youth is being touched. And so now I'm thankful that a lot of people I went to high school with are council people in Inglewood. And so partnering with them, working with them to try to do the best that we can. But in all honesty, it's painful because it's like, where are my people going? Like, where are we supposed to go? And this was a place that white flight happened. And I only know about that because when I was growing up, the apartment owners were also like my neighbors and they were white folks. And they would tell me all the time, like, this used to be a very white city, but we welcome all black people and stuff. And now seeing it's like, dang, okay, white flight happened. And then like we made this a community and we tried so hard to like band together, stick together. And now it's like, dang, like how did we get to here? Like a sports complex is cool, but we don't need 4 on 1 street. Like what is going on? So honestly, it's frustration. I think that as Inglewoodians, we thought that the mayor was going to like do something great for us, but it just feels like that's not in the agenda.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I look at gentrification, I see it on like 2 different planes, if you will. I see it from the city's perspective, right? They're always going to have a vested interest in more businesses, more homes, bigger homes, more expensive homes because that's more tax money. That's more sales tax money, more real estate tax money in their pocket. But at the same time, from the people's perspective, and there's 2 different sides of that. You have renters who are virtually like at the whim of their landlord. The landlord can come to you at the end of the year and say, your rent's going to go up 15%. And now it's like, okay, well, I'm supposed to come up with extra $500 every month. So then you're priced out as a renter. You have to move somewhere else. But pricing out as a homeowner is drastically different because it could be 2 different causes. It could be that your property taxes end up going up so high that you can't make those property tax payments because the city is reassessing land every year. So when SoFi comes, that means everything around it, land value has now increased. So if I'm the city of Inglewood, I'm the city of LA, I'm going to assess you a property tax bill at 15% higher. So either way, you got to come up with more money, even if you already own your land. Or you got people knocking on your door, harassing you, offering you $1 million, $1.5 million, $1.2 million, whatever, so that you could sell. And I think that predatory, that harassment is one of the pieces of gentrification that can in some ways be reduced by people taking a stance and saying, I know the value of what I have and I'm not going to sell it to you just so I can move somewhere else, right? You have a situation where I take my ex, for example, his grandmother's house off Manchester. They've had that house in their family for like 20 years. They had it valued, I want to say, at like $600,000. This was a few years ago. People been calling them, offering them $900,000, $1 million. His grandma's considering it like, I could take $1 million and that's a whole lot of money. But really, really do the math on it. it doesn't add up, because if they're offering you $1 million,
Oh, yeah.
what you think they could do with it for more, right? They're not going to offer you $1 million and only try to make $1.1 million. They're trying to flip it for 2, for 3 or more. So if you can hold it for longer and do something active with yours, maybe you turn your single family into a duplex and then add an ADU on the back, or add 2 ADUs on the back, to do the same thing that they were going to do yourself. Don't be so willing to take this $1.5 million because it's a big number and it's a number you haven't seen before. Know that if they're all just like, what's his name? We were just talking about New Orleans. He was in Solange's album talking about it's not Birdman. Who's
Lil Wayne?
No, Lil Wayne. What's the one that be with Lil Wayne? Like his
Juvenile.
It is Birdman.
Is it Birdman?
What'd he say?
Yeah, what'd he say?
He said, like, if this man, he was talking about his record deal. And he was like, they offered me some number.
Oh, no, he's talking about Master P.
Master P.
Yeah, he's a
Talking
genius.
about it. Yes.
He's a genius.
my
If they think I'm worth this,
Yes.
how much you think I'm really worth? And that's
Yeah.
the headspace you gotta be in. If you're a homeowner, you gotta know that if someone's knocking on your door offering you this, your land is worth way more than that.
But you got to know those things, though. And that's why I'm thankful that my grandparents came here and they bought up all these things. But their thing has always been like, you hold on to it for dear life. Like, you never sell. But I was told those things. Whereas I'm looking at their house. My grandparents have a beautiful home. They bought it for $10,000. Their house is worth $2 million, right? In my head, at first, I'm thinking like, shit, I'm about to sell this $2 million. I ain't got $2 million. But as I talk to them, they're like, we came here, we busted our ass. Hold on to that as long as you can. And so I think it's important to have these conversations, because oftentimes you don't know. You're thinking a check. I'm getting the money.
Well, also, it's this piece of putting in the work, like you just said. If you hear this and you like, dang, I'm struggling to do this already. I'm barely making this, and I can get 1.5 today. Yeah. You want to take it, you know, but versus like, all right, I got to figure out how to make some more money so I can build that ADU, so I can renovate this space, so I can make the 1.5 by myself and more profit.
Yes.
But I think sometimes, and it sucks because I think I did an article on Substack. But so look it up, Black Women Healing Podcast. But
Yes,
basically, like when I go home to Kentucky, a lot of times like folks will have all these goals and things, but then they go to work, they come home, and they're not doing more with it. And it almost feels like they don't have the energy to. You feel like you don't have the bandwidth to like, now I got to work on this business thing, or I got to figure out how to make more money, because if we're thinking of like mentality and trauma, if you haven't healed and are not in the healing phases of understanding, why do I have a lack mentality? Why am I not able to work 3 more hours? Or am I tired because my ancestors? Like, what's happening here where I can't take this next step to profit and capitalize on what I already have? I feel like that's something with it too. I feel like we're tired.
Yeah.
And I think it starts with mental health. So yes, you may have this grind mentality of having multiple jobs, and that's normal, but you also know how to take care of yourself.
True.
That's a game changer. So you're getting the information and you learning to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Versus where I'm from, we ain't getting either. We ain't getting either one. But imagine that. Imagine if we knew how to take care of ourselves mentally and have these multiple streams of income, because it's tiring. We also just can't just work, and we don't have a break. But it's a balance. You know, it's a dance.
Yeah. Thinking of time, because we are at time, we want to ask a few more questions just to wrap it up. Can you share with us what are neighborhood design features and policy decisions that negatively impact physical and mental health, and keep it short?
Yes, the point of the interview. And that's why I wanted to come on, because I feel like there's the relationship between the built environment and landscape and cities are not just how you walk through them, right? Or how you get to work, or how you get from work to school. It's the fact that all of those things impact your physical, your mental, and your emotional health. And so if I could highlight, I'd say the top 2 that I think of, and they're both within the public realm, are parks and transportation resources. Okay. So when you think of public parks, there's research, and I can send you all of the links that you guys would like, but 2 big organizations, the Trust for Public Land and Smart Growth America, they have research reports on transportation and park access. And the findings are that minorities, so Black and Latino communities, have like 50% less park acreage per capita, so like per 100,000 people, than white neighborhoods. So if you think about neighborhoods in LA compared to neighborhoods in Beverly Hills or Pacific Palisades or Sherman Oaks, think about how much green space those neighborhoods have compared to our neighborhoods. The second piece that really impacts, so that's access to those green spaces, air quality.
Yeah.
It's also your water quality, but it's also the mental. You guys know that about being outdoors and what that does for your mental headspace and your ability to think and process and relieve stress and anxiety. All those pieces are lacking when you live in an area that is predominantly concrete or predominantly paved. Then you have the transportation resources. And so that could get into a whole host of things, but it could also be, you think about where highways are located, right? The National Highway Act was designed to demolish Black neighborhoods and build in place of them highways. And so if you take any highway, you take the 10, for example, how it was designed and cut through neighborhoods.
That was a wealthy Black neighborhood at one point, yep.
It cut right through the middle of it, got rid of the people. We're going to take your land. That's called eminent domain, vocabulary word. Yes. Take your land, give you pennies on the dollar for it because we deem this area to be blighted. Or blighted basically means like there's something's wrong with it. We've decided that this neighborhood is blighted. And because of that, we can offer you less money for your land, take it from you, and then build an 8-lane highway on top of it. And nobody will ever know that this neighborhood even existed. Wow. You take the Cross Bronx Expressway, you take I-95. These are all East Coast highways. 285 in Atlanta. These are all examples of highways, federal interstate highways that were built in intentionally selected locations to demolish Black neighborhoods. So then what do you have on the outside? You end up with all these highway overpasses that create dark zones, areas for crime and homelessness activity to fester. They also end up with air pollution, sound pollution, all sorts of things that come from your proximity to them. And then the last piece is the opposite of that, right? The pedestrian landscape. If you think about Black neighborhoods compared to non-Black neighborhoods, they're often more walkable. And we just highlighted some really great examples of Leimert and Baldwin Hills and View Park, but that's not the overall landscape.
Right. Yeah.
Most minority neighborhoods are lacking the sidewalks. They're lacking the bike lanes. They're lacking the pedestrian infrastructure. So Smart Growth America produces a report, and they found that per 100,000 people, right, so pedestrians, that Blacks and Native Americans and Latinos are about 20 to 30% more likely to be injured in a pedestrian to car accident than a white person based on street design. And so it's not just the physical design of the neighborhood, it's how that physical design impacts you on your physical health and your mental health.
Wow. Ooh, Donika, want to wrap us up with a takeaway?
I mean, the takeaway is listen to the Four Degrees to the Streets podcast.
Yeah.
Y'all, like, this information, and thank you for blessing us and talking about, like, we don't hear this a lot. I listened to your podcast and I was just like, yo, this is amazing.
Thank you.
Like, I want more. I'm pretty sure the listener, yeah, like, no, like, we need to hear more of this. And also, it's just, it's powerful. It's some sadness to it when you hear this stuff too. But we need to hear this so we can actually make changes. So my takeaway is listen to 4 Degree Streets podcast. Continue to listen to us too. But yeah, I would say that's the takeaway.
Yeah. And thank you for joining us today, Jasmine. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Can I leave you guys with a homework assignment? I know
yes.
That was in the questions, and I had one prepared. I think it'll be good. So I'll challenge everyone to Google your regional plan association and then find their master plan. That's going to be a big old document, 600-page document or so, and it'll show you all of the future plans that your city or your county wants to do in the future. So if you would have Googled this in 2010, you would have seen what they wanted to do at Hollywood Park. This stuff is not a brand new idea. When you see a big building go up tomorrow, it's not that they just put their permit in last week. This stuff has been in the plans for 10 years often. And so if you want to be an active and engaged citizen, you want to fight gentrification, you want to advocate for schools, knowing what's in your city's plan is critical to knowing what the decisions are going to be happening in the future. And you can always oppose them and go to planning board meetings and things like that. But I challenge everyone to find their city's master plan and take a look at it so you can see what major developments they're planning for the next 10 years.
Wow. Thank you for that. Wow. Do y'all homework, and that is it for this week's episode of Black Women Healing Podcast.